The top story on ABC News Breakfast, Rupert Murdoch's newspapers, including his Australian publications, will now have to fend for themselves.
News Corp has confirmed it is splitting the company into two. It's hiving off its lucrative film and TV businesses from its much poorer performing newspapers.
Our North America correspondent Jane Cowan joins us now from Washington with more on this. Good morning, Jane. Take us through this announcement.
Good morning, Karina. Well, the announcement from Rupert Murdoch today is confirming that his huge media conglomerate worth $60 billion will be split in two. That's the plan. Splitting, as you say, the publishing arm with his struggling newspaper business, which is only worth about $10 billion of that total, off from the more profitable and faster growing broadcast business that includes, obviously, Fox News here in the US. Now, in making this announcement, Rupert Murdoch, the 81-year-old, has said that this has been an emotional decision. He's saying, though, that it has nothing to do with the phone hacking scandal that has rocked his newspaper business in the UK. He's saying this has been the culmination of 3 years planning. Let's have a listen to some of what he has said.
This announcement is a culmination of more than 3 years of review by our management, board and advisors of ways to best position our businesses for long-term success and even greater value creation. The new global publishing company will consist of our news and information services businesses in the US, UK and Australia, our book publishing brands, our integrated marketing services company, our groundbreaking digital education group, including wireless generation, and our other assets in Australia. We're not doing this in any sense as a reaction to anything in the UK or Australia or anywhere else. We think this is the right thing for the company going forward.
So what does this mean for his Australian interests? And Jane, is there any news on whether his children will be taking on big roles?
Well, he does have the $6 billion newspaper and paid TV subsidiary in Australia. He says that will remain intact. He's also weighed into the turmoil at Fairfax, saying that he doesn't think those problems in that company have stemmed from it being a standalone business rather than part of a conglomerate. But he's saying most of Fairfax's problems, he believes, are self-inflicted. He's saying that News Corp certainly has no desire. The last thing it wants is to become a monopoly in Australia, which he's saying would make it even more of a political target in his view. As far as succession plans are concerned, he's dismissed, for what it's worth, the suggestion, the speculation that the newspaper business might be based in Australia. Let's have a listen to what else he said about his children.
Well, they have to earn it, and they have to want it. Lachlan is very happy running his own businesses in Australia and loves living there, so we'll see.
So he wouldn't take over the publishing?
I think that's highly unlikely.
A lot more to play out on that story, but if we move on to the big domestic story in the United States, Jane, the Obamacare ruling, what's happened there?
Well, this has been much anticipated. This was the signature achievement of Barack Obama's first term domestically, certainly. There was a massive sweaty confusion, really, on the steps of the Supreme Court as the decision was eventually handed down today. And what has happened is that the Supreme Court judges, the highest court in the land, have ruled to uphold Obamacare, as it's been called, but not for the reason that might have been expected. They've actually ruled that the individual mandate that is at the heart of this legislation, that's the requirement that all Americans buy health insurance or face a penalty. They've decided that that is a tax and therefore is constitutional. So what it means is that the law stands for the moment. This has really prompted scenes of jubilation on the steps outside the Supreme Court. And interestingly, it was a Conservative judge, a George Bush appointee, John Roberts, who sided with the Liberal wing of the Supreme Court and saved this law. So this is really a good thing for Barack Obama heading into his re-election campaign. There had been some speculation after the oral arguments were heard back in March that the justices were sounding as though they were going to strike down at least some parts of this law, which would have been a blow for the president, obviously. His opponents, the challenger, the Republican challenger Mitt Romney, are still saying that this will be a good thing for them because it will galvanise opposition to Barack Obama and really convince his opponents that the only way now to get rid of this law is to vote him out and vote in Mitt Romney, who is vowing to get rid of it as one of his first orders of business. But let's have a look at what the US President Barack Obama said today about it.
The highest court in the land has now spoken. We will continue to implement this law, and we'll work together to improve on it where we can. But what we won't do, what the country can't afford to do, is refight the political battles of 2 years ago or go back to the way things were. And now's the time to keep our focus on the most urgent challenge of our time, putting people back to work, paying down our debt, and building an economy where people can have confidence that if they work hard, they can get ahead. I'm as confident as ever that when we look back 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, we'll be better off because we had the courage to pass this law and keep moving forward.
Barack Obama there, Jane Cowan in Washington. We'll leave it there.